Hey guys, it's Adam here from Adam's Brass Basement. Today we're looking at a very interesting piece from W&R Imports. It was imported around 2001, built by Sam Hongsa in Korea. And the model we're looking at here is the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle 462 H-1 class. These were built in the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle shops during the late 1920s, around 1927, through about 1930. They were rebuilt from D1 class 460s, I believe. This model is a very, very well done representation of these engines, and it's also very similar to the Great Northern H7 class, which W&R also produced. Being a W&R import means that it's one of the best. W&R was known for extremely fine details. Everything from the castings to the electronics to the running capabilities on W&R models was superior, generally, to that of many others. Importers like Overland and Key often looked to W&R, especially when it came to steam projects, because that was what W&R was best at. Not saying they didn't just make steam, but that's what they were certainly the best at. You can see it in a piece like this why they were considered one of the best, and why many people collect only W&R. I know of very few people that collect only one importer. However, I do know that W&R models are almost always highly sought after. So let's look at some of the other features of this model. Haven't really shown anything yet. Let's go over some facts about it. According to the Brass Guide, 65 of these models were produced in 2001 by the best builder of Korea, at least, Sam Hongsa. Sam Hongsa, by 2001, was in their final few years of operation. By 2005, they had ceased making brass models, unfortunately. So this is one of the last few hundred prototypes they produced. And it's a testament to Sam Hongsa. This is a spectacular piece. If we look at the paintwork on this model, you can just see just the beautifully crisp lines. Everything's perfect. Now you might notice there aren't number boards on it. Well, there are, but there isn't a front one. W&R, one thing they did was they kept in a parts bag a nice little, this is actually really nice. I'll put it in front of the camera. Hopefully it'll pick it up. Number plates and builder's plates, and these were very well produced. You can actually read the builder's plates, which is really quite neat. They did that for a variety of reasons. These did come off. I have lost some from models that did not have them, or that did rather have them factory installed. So I always found that really interesting. It also allowed the modeler to possibly change the road number. I won't be doing that. I have no reason to, but it's something it allowed the modeler to do. So let's take a swing back to the tender here. Very interesting tender. It's a Vanderbilt tender, 6 axles, or 6 wheels rather. I'm sorry, 6 axles. I'm confusing myself. It's late here. But one thing I've always loved about this engine is this white line that runs all the way through it. And I've found photos of 626 during its time on the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle with this beautiful passenger livery. This was a passenger engine, and I'll show you guys some more features that this model. You can see on the tender just how crisp the lettering is. to give you guys an idea of how small that is, this is my finger. You know, that is extremely tiny. Though that 626 on the back is 1 millimeter, and everything above it is 0.5 millimeter lettering. It's quite impressive. You can see the steam lines for passenger cars, as well as the air hoses for the brakes, and just a really neat thing to actually see. Most steam locomotives produced in plastic that were passenger engines did not have steam lines or even air hoses in some cases installed from the factory, which is a shame. Steam engines had a lot of very interesting details which you would not see on diesels. Not just brake lines and air hoses. Obviously you can find those on F units and E's, but you know, what I'm saying here is that many of these plastic models do not have these features. This is prototype specific. Maybe not the best example to go over prototype specificity. The tender itself, though, we can talk about prototype specificity. This is I'm not exactly sure how many gallons this Vanderbilt tender could hold, but it's a really interesting design. In fact, I think it kind of has a funny proportion to the engine. The engine is kind of a dainty, small 462 with a bell pair firebox. Bell pair fireboxes you don't normally think of with a Vanderbilt tender. You normally think of the Pennsylvania Railroad bell pair. Very few other railroads had the bell pair. Great Northern, SP&S, which of course got a lot of hand-me-downs from the Great Northern. So it's very interesting to see. Let's look at some more features. Let's look at the engineer's side. This side of the engine is just as nice as the fireman's side, as you would expect. I absolutely love the white running board pinstripe and the white rims on the tires, on the engine tires. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. It has number boards, it has a bell cord that just, you know, this model is just a very pretty model. You know, they did such a great job on this. In my opinion, this model would look exceptional weathered up. Lightly. And the reason I say that is because I think the all black appearance on it, even with the white pinstripes, it's a little much. Now, that's just me. It also looks great in this way. I would prefer the weathering, but hey, that's a future thing. The level of detail on this really is remarkable. Under the firebox, you have a beautifully done firebox where it actually has a lot of the things. If you were to take Broadway Limited or a Bachmann engine, you would have almost no detail in the trailing truck area. That's to allow for operating on smaller radiuses. Now this won't operate on an 18-inch curve. It'll operate on 28-inch, moderate, 30 preferred curves. That's one thing about Brass. But I'm sure you guys want to see how this runs. So let's run it. Let's zoom out a little bit here real quick. I'll show you guys really quick how this runs. This is out of the box. I haven't done anything to it. Reverse it. I have not lubed it. This is as it arrived from Korea back in 2001. It's just so smooth. It's quiet. You really, this is a perfect candidate to immediately install DCC and sound into. It's just so quiet. It runs so nicely. And it's just a very pretty engine. If you're interested in buying something like this, remember to watch websites such as BrassTrains.com, RailModel.com, And also check out the Facebook groups. There's a lot of good ones. The Brass Collectors and Operators is my preferred. This is just a spectacular piece. This particular one I am willing to sell. If you are interested, post a comment. Would love to hear from you, and even if you're not interested, let's talk. Always love talking trains. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece. If I missed anything in this interview, feel free to, in this video review, feel free to ask me, or I can post more photos later, or even videos. It's really not a problem to me. I enjoy making this stuff for all of you guys, and you know, I'm very fortunate to have these models in my possession, even if for some of them it's a short time. And yeah, let's talk trains. Anyway, this is another Adams Brass Basement train video. Thanks for stopping by.